Hi, this is Sean, registered nurse with the MassSupport network. Welcome to our continuing examination of coronavirus transmission. In a previous video, we talked about the three ways the virus can spread: through direct and short-distance droplets, through contaminated objects, or via long-range aerosols. In this video, we are going to discuss how aerosols work, especially in indoor environments. It is difficult to determine exactly how far aerosols can travel or for how long. What we do know is that in an enclosed space, those aerosols can circulate around for quite a while. If you're indoors with someone who's infected, their breath will be constantly putting more aerosols into the room. The more cramped the space and the longer you stay there, the more exposure you get. If there's decent ventilation, many of those aerosols will be sucked outdoors. This drastically reduces the amount of virus that would be near you. Think of it like cigarette smoke. More distance and more ventilation will make it much easier to be indoors with someone who is smoking. A side note, don't smoke indoors. Outdoors is a whole different story. With so much more space to spread out, the aerosols can disperse to the point where there will not be enough to infect you. Also, sunlight can inactivate the virus, killing it in just a few minutes under a bright sun. That said, it is still possible to catch the virus outdoors if you are very close to someone for a long period of time. So, here are some quick guidelines for assessing the risk of any outdoor activity. First, be aware of how crowded the space is and what the activity is. Something that involves a lot of talking or singing will generate more aerosols. Second, look at the space itself. How cramped is it? How well ventilated is it? A bigger space with better ventilation is going to be lower risk. Any activity that can be moved outdoors will be much safer. Finally, think about how long the activity will take. The longer you're there, the more exposure you will have. Let's take a look at a real-life example. In January, a family from Wuhan, China, the original epicenter of the pandemic, took a train to the city of Guangzhou to celebrate Chinese New Year. They had lunch at a restaurant on the 24th. One member of the family was infected and started showing symptoms later that day. Here's the seating plan for that lunch. The family from Wuhan sat at table A. This is the family member who started showing symptoms that day. These are other people in the restaurant who eventually tested positive for COVID-19. The neighboring tables were there for roughly an hour each. And while it's possible that some of the 5 people at tables B and C who became infected caught it from each other, we know at least these 2 contracted the virus in the restaurant. These 2 people are sitting fairly far away from seat A1, so direct droplet transmission is unlikely. This was almost certainly a case of aerosol transmission. On the right side of the room was an air conditioner. The exhaust fan on the left side was turned off that day. It is likely that the air current circulating through this part of the room allowed aerosols from table A to transfer to people on the other tables. Had the exhaust fan been turned on and venting the air to the outside, there's likely to have been far fewer cases from this lunch. This was a fairly large restaurant. The affected area was only a small part, as there were 14 other occupied tables at the time. But they were serviced by other air conditioners, which may have kept the circulation confined to that one area. No one from the other table was infected by sharing the bathroom or the elevator, though it is worth noting that the bathroom had its own exhaust fan going. No one else in this floor was infected, including the waitstaff who cleared the table, or anyone who dined at those tables later in the day. This case illustrates the principles of aerosol spread. A long period of time spent in a place like a restaurant where all 3 of the 3 C's overlap. Knowing where risk is high like this and doing what we can to mitigate that risk is essential to preventing further spread. For more from the MassSupport network, you can find us on our website or on social media. Remember, wear your mask, wash your hands, and be here if you need us. Stay safe.